Hi, welcome to the Bowie Business Journal. I'm your host, Pauline Markward, with the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. Today, my guest is Adam Pohl, Director of Broadcasting. Welcome, Adam.
How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. So, love baseball, full disclosure, especially minor league. I will watch the regular baseball season, but I stick with the Baysox. So tell me a little bit about you and how you got to Bowie, because you're not a local from here.
No, I'm pretty local overall. Minor league baseball, it's a tough industry to be able to work where you're from. I'm from Arlington, Virginia, so not far from Bowie. But I went to school in North Carolina. That's where I got my start, and ended up getting my first full-time job as a broadcaster and doing public relations for a team in Salem, Virginia, which is right next to Roanoke.
So they recruited you.
A little bit. I kind of put myself out there to our general manager, Brian Shallcross, hoping to be a part of the Baysox. It's really a special organization. There's a great group of people that have worked with the Baysox, whether they are full-time employees or even our game day staff, people like the ushers and ticket takers and such that have been with this team for more than a decade. And it's really a special place to go to work every day.
I understand that Baysox is celebrating an anniversary this year.
Right. So the Baysox started in 1993, and interestingly enough, did not play in Bowie until 1994. The Baysox originated, and they were building Prince George's Stadium, so they actually played the first ever year at the old Orioles Stadium, Memorial Stadium, in 1993. But this is, in 2017, it is our 25th season. And for longtime Bowie residents, I know that's probably a little bit surprising because obviously time flies by, right? And people would say, my God, this is 25 years of the Baysox. But it's really, really exciting. The Baysox have had close to 200 players come through Bowie that have reached the major leagues. And obviously have always been the AA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. And when you look at the Orioles now, who are a very competitive team, actually here early in this 2017 season, have one of the best records in baseball and have won more games than any other team in the American League in the last 5 years. You look at it and you just go around and say, wow, that guy played in Bowie, that guy played in Bowie. And it's really neat to see that we've been a piece of that.
Now, how many players does Baysox actually have at a time?
So the Baysox roster has 25 players at a time, but that fluctuates because our players are actually not employees of the Baysox. They are employees of the Orioles. So it is somebody with the Orioles. He's called the Director of Player Development. Our farm director is the term. His name is Brian Graham. It's Brian's decision as to who plays at what minor league team. So we've got Frederick, that is the team below us, and AAA Norfolk, the Norfolk Tides in Virginia are above us. Bowie, though, really is the first level in the minor leagues where a player truly has the chance to actually get called up to the major leagues from this minor league spot. You're not going to see many guys go from Frederick to Baltimore. So it's neat. We had many players in 2016 go from Bowie straight to the major leagues, and that is obviously seeing players and people who are having a lifelong dream fulfilled.
Okay. Where do you recruit from, your players?
So that's one of the interesting aspects of it, that the Baysox as an entity, for instance, I am a Baysox employee, but once again, our players are Orioles employees. So it is the Baltimore Orioles that are recruiting, drafting, signing, and bringing in players into this minor league system. A great way to think of it is that the NFL draft is coming up, or as the airing of this may have just happened. And with that, when the Washington Redskins choose their first-round draft choice this year, that player is going to be on the Redskins next year.
Okay.
But when the Baltimore Orioles select their first-round draft choice in 2017, that's going to be upcoming in June, that player will go into the minor leagues. And just about every player that is a major league player played at the AA level somewhere. So that's why there are so many players. If you go to a Baysox game, probably half of the people that you see on that field, both for the Baysox and for the opposing team, will play in a major league game at some point in their career.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where is the Baysox Stadium located?
So we are right in Bowie, almost as you hit the Anne Arundel County line on 301 right before it becomes Route 3. And of course, we got the big marquee. It is unusual that our stadium, Prince George's Stadium, you can't actually even see the stadium from the road. You know, there's a Chick-fil-A there, and you turn in the BJ's and such, and you go down, and we are kind of tucked back there. But we have the marquee there on Route 3 and 301. And that generates a lot of traffic. And of course, we are a very well supported team here in the community.
You are. I very much enjoy going to your games. So tell me a little bit about some of the events that are coming up at your stadium.
So what's interesting about our marketing philosophy as an organization is that you would think, wow, all these famous players have played on your team. So for instance, for the Orioles, Manny Machado, and also Zach Britton, the closer, Chris Tillman, Kevin Gausman, Dylan Bundy, all these players were Baysox, and not just for one night. I mean, they were Baysox for a long time. Even the Washington Nationals, Matt Wieters, the catcher, Jason Worth, famous outfielder, they came up through the Orioles organization originally, so they were Bowie Baysox. But the reality of it is that those players are not famous until they're major league players. So promoting players that we have now, even though we have an outfielder right now named Cedric Mullins, who there's a great chance that Cedric's going to be an everyday Major League Baseball player in his time and have a long, productive Major League career. And in 5 years from now, it's hard to think of 2022, right? But in 2022, if everything goes to plan for Cedric, if he played one game in Bowie, everyone would say, oh my God, we got to go see Cedric Mullins play. And we would sell 1,000 extra tickets. But the reality of it is that nobody knows in the grand scheme as far as, I mean, there is excitement about him, but it is not the end-all be-all of us drawing people to our stadium. So what you see in minor league baseball is the approach of what is really affordable family fun. It's a clean, safe, affordable entertainment option. You're outside. You don't even have to be a huge baseball fan to love it with your family. If you have a young family, tickets range from $7 to $15. And we try to do a lot of things that are beyond the baseball game. Our #1 promotion is fireworks. People always ask about that. We have upwards of about 20 fireworks shows a year in our 70-game home slate. Our games started here in the middle of the month of April. They'll go through Labor Day. And our highest attended games are our weekend games. And quite often, Saturday nights are firework nights. Sundays, we have a lot of giveaways. We have 2 o'clock games on Sundays, which is so nice to be outside in the nice weather and enjoying a baseball game. And overall, it's just great, wholesome family fun. And we're excited to bring the community out to what we do once again here this year.
Okay, for those people who don't go to baseball games very often, what are the best seats in your opinion?
Well, that's another great thing, because if you go to a major league game and you're a family, you're going to pay $15, $20 for a ticket, you're going to be sitting up top. But at a Baysox game, if you pay $15 for a ticket, you are right there. And our ballpark is 10,000 seats. It's not 40,000 seats. So therefore, every seat in the ballpark, you feel like you're right there in on the action. But it's a lot of the entertainment, the games we have on field in between innings, the fact that we have a huge moon bounce kids zone area with a moon bounce, a carousel, many other inflatable games and such. If you bring your kids out to a Baysox game, it's not really going to be them sitting in a seat for 3 hours looking at a field and hoping that the Baysox win. Now, we want you to become big fans of our team and root our team on, no doubt about it, but there's so much to do, and do so at an affordable price. It's free to park. There's another example, and the parking is ample at our ballpark. So it's just a great, fun family night out.
Okay, let's get back to the stadium being 10,000 seats. That's fairly large for minor league.
Yeah, so we're a AA team, and we basically have a AAA size stadium, and that can be a challenge, you know, because on a general Friday or Saturday night, we usually have in the range of 5,000 to 7,000 people at a game, which is a big crowd for a team at our level of baseball. But unlike the teams in our league that have, you know, 5,000 or 6,000 seat stadiums, we have a 10,000 seat stadium. So, you know, we generally view that as an opportunity and a good thing, because on July 4th we're going to sell those 10,000 seats. And on other big nights, upcoming June 3rd is our Star Wars night. You know, we'll have 8,000 or 9,000 people in our ballpark, where, you know, in some other places, they would have to just kind of cut the line off and say, sorry, we're out. So that is a good thing for us, and a positive. And when you come to our ballpark, you'll see it's even though the stadium was built in 1994, you wouldn't believe it. Our operations staff does a great job with upkeeping the facility, and our field is second to none. And it's just it's a great place to watch a baseball game.
It is, and I'll tell you, my favorite place to buy my tickets is I like to sit to the right of first plate, because I think that's where all the action is. In minor league baseball, if our players make it to a base, you know they really deserved it. They work hard for it. So I like the action at that. And those people who know me know I can get a little distracted sometimes. So I actually usually get 2 tickets, and I bring somebody with me to sit to the left of me to catch the balls when
That's
they
right,
come
because
out.
if you're right near first base, you are in a spot where a foul ball could come your way, and come your way in a hurry. The great thing is that is the home side, and a lot of our most ardent and biggest fans sit right there, right around the Baysox dugout. And if you come many times throughout the year, one of the great things about minor league baseball is that, in a way, these players are a little bit more approachable because they're not famous yet, right? So I think about it as it's like when you say, oh my goodness, I saw this famous music act, but I saw them play at the 930 Club, or I saw them play at Ram's Head, or, you know, this very small, you know, theater here in Bowie, because what ends up happening then is then now they're playing these arenas and these big things, and I have to sit up here and see them. But when I saw them in Bowie, I saw them this close, and it's really a similar thing. You'll even get to know our players, signing autographs before and after games and things of that nature when you come to a Baysox game.
Well, I'm looking forward to my season 2 being back in Bowie with the Baysox. I was a little older when I started liking baseball. I never really understood it, and I'm still not sure about all the rules, but I enjoy it, so that's key. But when I lived in Allentown, Pennsylvania, they have the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and I bought, for whatever reason, I just needed something to do. And so I bought 2 tickets. It was a 9-seat package. And so it kind of made me go and enjoy the game. It was a guaranteed night out of fun. And I just started liking it. And I'm going to throw a name out, Dominic Brown.
Okay.
I fell in love with him. He had the quirkiest things he had to do. And some people would say, aren't they signals? I was like, no. I think in order for him to do anything, he actually has to bend down and eat the dirt. But it was neat to, over the years, to watch him go up and down between being minor league, going up to the major, getting injured, coming back down. So what you're saying is very true. If you start going to the games, you get to know the players and you get to watch them. But I'll tell you, the Baysox aren't that quirky. I don't see any oddness where they're really doing all this crazy
some
stuff.
guys. We've definitely had some guys over the years.
Find one for me.
My favorite one is now on the Orioles. His name is Tyler Wilson. He's a right-handed pitcher with Baltimore. Really smart guy from UVA. Pitched there, and Tyler, you know, a lot of guys don't want to step on the foul lines. He leaps over the foul line.
Really?
Before he starts an inning, he gets down in a squat like a catcher behind the pitcher's mound and does like this bullfrog leap as high as he can, and then walks on the hill. And one of the funniest things that I remember was we have a peanut-free day. And with that, obviously with the kids' allergy, and we want to be able to have an event where kids that are peanut-free can come out to the game. But when you think about baseball, peanut shells everywhere, things like that, it's a little harder for us to do peanut-free than most places. But the worry was that we were even going to take peanut butter out of the clubhouse because of the fact that basically, you know, you don't want a kid, you know, getting a ball signed and something happening, right? So Tyler Wilson said, well, what night is peanut-free night? Because he eats a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before every single game. And he's got to have that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you know, or else everything's not going to go right, you know. And he's got to have the leap and the jump and all these things together. And he texts his mom something every night, but nobody knows but them what they text each other before every game. It's really crazy. And fortunately, he was not the pitcher on peanut-free night. So the peanut butter was back in the clubhouse when Tyler was going to pitch.
Yeah, good. Well, in Alabama, we eat our shells. We do. People look at me like I'm crazy, but we do eat our shells. So, I'm sorry, you have to break that. I got so sidetracked with the peanut butter free night. You are hysterical. I love it. So Adam, tell me about the things that I need to know about baseball, because I have a few questions. I don't really understand. I don't really understand how you can have coaches coaching first base and third base, and they're screaming across the field to each other, and then you're coaching people as they come in, or maybe I have all this wrong. Just explain to me this.
You know, one of the most interesting things is the sign language of baseball, you know, so the coach at third gives signs. If there's a runner at first, to let them know what to do. The man at the plate, okay, you're going to bunt. The guy at the first, are you going to steal? And but they can't just give a sign, because it would be very easy for the other team to figure out, okay, well, when he touches his wrist, that means they're going to steal. So usually the coach at third will give all these signs, and they have what's called the indicator. And the indicator means when I touch this, let's say it's my hat, then I'm going to do all these signs, and when I touch my hat, the next thing I hit is going to be what you're going to do or not do, because most of the time the sign is absolutely nothing.
Okay.
So what's so funny about it is that one of the teams that I broadcast for in Frederick 10 years ago, our manager was so flustered by the fact that he was giving these signs and the players were not picking up on the signs. They weren't doing what he was trying to do. So he said, I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm going to go through all this whole thing. If I clap afterwards, one clap means steal. You know, two claps means bunt. So there was no indicator, and he would literally be doing all this stuff, you know, like for 3-5 seconds. Then he'd be look at the guy and go like, you know, come on, you know, bunt, all right, come on. So you just never know. It's one of the nuances of baseball, obviously.
Okay, so first base coach and third base coach, do they talk to each other, or they're just talking to the players?
They're just talking to the players generally. The first base coach is usually talking to the player the runner that would be at first base. A lot of times they'll actually have a little stopwatch because they're trying to see how long it's taking for the pitcher to go towards the plate and throw it. Because the pitcher takes a long time in throwing to the plate, it's more easy to steal a base. So that is a little nuance of the game. But the third base coach is the person that's giving the signs, and then they're in charge. The most important role of that coach is they're in charge of, on a play that could be at the plate, of either sending the runner around third to score or stopping them. So if you're running from second around third to home and there's a ball that's in the outfield, you're not deciding yourself as to if I'm going to try to score. You're looking at that third base coach whether to kind of give you the windmill to run home or stop.
Okay, what else? Say a family just wants to go, they know nothing about baseball. What do you need to know going in to make the game enjoyable and to understand? There's 4 bases, we get that.
Right. You know, obviously there's a lot of the rules of 9 innings, 3 outs, you know, all of that. But it's really the battle between the pitcher and the hitter. And of course, it never changes. And I think one of the coolest aspects of baseball is that you never know who the hero is going to be. Because in basketball, you pass it to the best player, your best scorer. That's the guy that's going to shoot. In football, your quarterback is going to be the guy with the ball in his hands, you know, and he's going to be making the plays. But in baseball, the person that comes up to bat is not your best hitter. It's whoever is up. You know, you have your lineup, and if the game is on the line and it's your worst hitter that's coming up to bat and he's batting 8th in the lineup, well, you just can't put your best hitter up. And I think that's one of the neat nuances of the game. And just, you know, just like any other sport, though, when you get around baseball, the more that you see it and watch it, there are so many nuances to the game that it brings you in. It is a game that is played at a slower pace than some of the others, but because of that, you really get to understand and see the strategy in motion a little bit more so than you do in other sports.
Yes, actually, after watching so many live games, I can actually watch it on TV. And I'm okay with that. Before I couldn't. And listening to it on the radio is also okay. Actually, it's almost more enjoyable listening to it on the radio.
So I broadcast the Baysox games locally on the radio on 1430 AM WNAV. And it's so different than some of the other sports that I do because, when you're calling a basketball game, you're basically just calling the game. It's moving so fast. And it's sometimes very hard to give the listener a true mind's eye of what's happening other than, okay, this shot is good and that's the score. But in baseball, it moves at a pace where, really two things. Number one, when you hit it somewhere, if you hit it to shortstop, if you're a baseball fan, you know in your head exactly what that looks like. And then secondly, so it's an easier game to visualize, number one, but it also moves at a pace where as a broadcaster, you really have to work to be able to fill that time with stories and anecdotes. You broadcast the game much different. That's 3-2 in the seventh inning, then 13-2 in the seventh inning. And it's also a game that doesn't have a clock. And that is a very unique aspect to baseball. The clock is that you have to get 27 outs. And so, it's not like in football, I'm up 2 touchdowns and I have the ball with 1 minute left and I'm just going to take a knee and run this thing out. It doesn't work like that. You have to go get those outs.
That's a neat way to think about it. It's 27 by the end of the game.
Right.
Sometimes it's a little extra inning.
Yeah, so sometimes you have a 2-hour and 15-minute baseball game. Sometimes you have a 3.5-hour game. We get so many questions. People ask, when do the fireworks start? And for us, obviously, we can't tell you when the fireworks are going to start usually. But an average Baysox game is in the vicinity of 2.5 hours. So if you're going to a 6:30 Saturday night game, usually the game will end around 9 o'clock and our fireworks will be soon after that. But you never know because that doesn't even put into the equation a game that'll go to extra innings. So
or rain delay.
Exactly.
That always gets me. How much rain stops a game or postpones it. One time I was there last season and we were waiting and waiting and waiting, but we ate and had a great time. We had a few beers, and so we still had a fun time with family and friends.
And we usually have businesses that have booths on our concourse that are able to mingle with the fans. Yeah, so I guess that's one of the big things for us is that understanding that there's so much more to do at a Baysox game than just the baseball. But in a similar way, when you go to a Nationals or an Orioles game, you're there to see them win. You're there to watch the best players in the world play. And our level of baseball, AA baseball, is about as good as you can get below that. And you're going to be sitting much closer to the action, and you're also going to be doing it for a much cheaper price tag. And so with that, it's many times a much better fit for a young family that might not be that average die-hard baseball fan.
Yeah, of course I want to see the Baysox win, but I'm just along for the ride. I just love the experience. I love how happy people are when I look around. Gosh, I remember one game I was at, actually, it's probably a couple that, because when you buy your seats, the same people are sitting around you. But the Iron Pigs were not doing well. And he was a heckler.
Yeah.
And he was actually I felt sorry for the Pigs, but his heckling was quite interesting. But I haven't seen that at the Baysox yet.
I guess we have some super fans though, which is neat and so much fun, and it's great because what a ballpark ends up being when you come out to a game more often than not. The average Baysox fan goes to 1.5 games per year, but obviously we have fans that come to every game. So it's a community undoubtedly, and I think what you spoke about before with how you got your tickets in Lehigh Valley, we have an option for that, which this time of year is great, which is an 8 or 16 game ticket plan. You might think, oh, I'm not going to go to that many games probably, but what it really is it's not actually 8 games, it's 8 tickets. They're undated, so you can go to any game, and you're going to get the best available seat in that section, so you'll sit in a similar area. And if you have a family of 4 and you get an 8-game ticket plan, you're going to save a lot of money by doing that. You'll get a free bobblehead. This year's bobblehead is of Dylan Bundy, who in the early part of the season has been the best Orioles pitcher, and he was a former Baysox just 2 years ago. And it's a great fit, and you can go you can go whenever you would like.
Okay, so how do we get to know the players a little bit better?
Well, I can, obviously right now, some of the players that stand out for the Baysox, Cedric Mullins is an outfielder. He actually went to school at Campbell University in North Carolina. He's really jumped on the scenes. Buck Showalter, the Orioles manager, has talked about him as a possible everyday ball player in the future. He hit 7 home runs in spring training between minor and major league spring training, and he is off to an outstanding start. In the first week of the year, he was the Eastern League, the league the Baysox are in, the Eastern League Player of the Week. We have the ACC Player of the Year, so the superstar for Florida State as of 3 years ago. His name is DJ Stewart. He's one of our outfielders. He was the Orioles' first-round pick in 2015. And if you want to just have a guy that jumps out at you when you watch the game, like, wow, we have a pitcher named Tanner Scott, and I've never had a pitcher throw like this in my more than decade of watching minor league baseball every night. But he throws more than 100 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Which is really incredible to watch. He's from just outside of Akron, Ohio, and he was an Orioles 6th-round draft choice. And, you know, he's a little erratic, especially last year. He's kind of been able to hone it in a little bit more this year with his fastball command. And really, he needs a little bit more seasoning and could be a big-time major league pitcher. But his first pitch with the Baysox last year was 101 miles an hour.
Wow.
And it had everybody in the press box chuckling, saying, my goodness, I can't believe that.
I would be erratic, too, at 100 miles an hour.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, my gosh, but that's beautiful. But it's just nice to hear that they're approachable.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's one of the great things, you know, is we have 2 different Meet the Team days during the year where our entire team signs autographs before a Sunday afternoon game.
Oh, that's perfect.
But generally, if you come to a baseball game in Bowie and you get down there early, you go down, walk near where the dugout is, you're going to be able to see a player, meet a player, and get an autograph.
Okay, and I will say kudos to your leadership and to your players. When I'm at the games, I do see that the players, when they're done with the ball, they'll give it to the children.
Right.
And I love that because as an adult, I don't need a ball. I mean,
I know. It is kind of funny.
It's nice, it's fun. It's like, ooh, got it, but.
Yeah, you'll see like a foul ball go in the stands and a 50-year-old running after it, and then you'll see 2 7-year-olds running after. You're like, oh my goodness, please, if you give the 50-year-old, please give it to the 7-year-old.
Exactly,
you know,
catch
because
it, hand
it's so important. Obviously, a baseball costs $4 or $5, so it's not the end of the world. But it is kind of funny how even adults can go after a baseball. My uncle tried to catch a baseball once at a major league game. He was reaching for it, broke his pinky finger on the chair in front of him, and didn't get the baseball. So for me, maybe it's just also because I'm around it all the time. But it is kind of funny seeing people trying to go after these baseballs like that.
Sometimes it's a serves you right.
Exactly.
So the Baysox is very involved in the community and the schools. What do you offer there?
Yeah, this is a big time of year for us in that regard. We're doing 2 huge STEM Day events in which we're going to have in the realm of 12 to 15,000 kids at our ballpark doing STEM activities during a Baysox game. We have our 2nd annual Baysox College Fair that we're really excited about, with 15 to 20 universities and over 2,000 students that will be there for that ball game. That'll be here in just a few days in early May. And one of our longest inning programs is our Read and Hit a Home Run program. And so local elementary school and middle school students are reading books outside of the classroom. And by doing that, they are getting a free Baysox ticket, and then their parents can bring them to the ball game. The Prince George's County Nights are upcoming May 12th and 13th. So we hope that many here that are watching today that have young students in the classroom can make it out to one of those games. Fireworks follow the game. So those are some of the things we're doing. We're even doing an event in the fall with the Bowie Chamber.
Yes, we're very excited about that. October 14th, we're going to call it Brewy Fest.
That's right.
So please.
Aptly named.
Absolutely. So more details to follow with that. And but let's go back. What is STEM?
STEM is a science, technology, education, and math. And so we have worked with both Prince George's County Schools and Anne Arundel County Schools to develop an educational packet. We have local high school students that are doing experiments from 5 or 6 different high schools locally, local STEM-related organizations as well that will be doing the same. So it's a very interactive, hands-on science day at the ballpark, and it's going to be a great day.
Wonderful. Well, make sure you send it to the chamber, and we'll help you get out the publicity there.
Will do.
But gosh, Adam, thank you so much for coming on. I just love baseball. The Baysox are amazing, and I really appreciate the time you've spent with us today.
Most definitely, and we're just so excited to have everybody be a part of our 25th season, and of course, for any information, you can find us at baysox.com.
Okay, and don't forget to look for me right to the right of
That's right, first base.
So, thank you so much, and thank you for joining the Bowie Business Journal.